Hi, and welcome to this edition of Legislative Report. I'm State Representative Matthew Dowling, serving the 51st Legislative District in Fayette and Somerset County. This morning I'm joining you from the historic Stonehouse Inn, and our guest with us today is Chef Jeremy Critchfield, who is the managing partner or operator here at the restaurant in this historic building. Jeremy, thanks for joining us. I thought maybe we'd start by talking a little bit about the history of the Stonehouse, or what you may know about the building and the inn as it goes back. I know it's been here for well over 100 years.
Built in 1822 by Andrew Stewart as a summer resort and inn, for weary travelers along the fledgling National Road out here. And 195 years this year, the place celebrated, and boy, if these walls could talk. I tell everybody it's one of the birthplaces of American hospitality, because there was a lot of colonists out there, the Philadelphia area, up and down the coast, and when everyone started west, 90% of them came right past this front door, front porch. The road, actually, you could step from the stagecoach onto the steps of the front porch of the Stonehouse. So whether stagecoach or covered wagon, getting off your horse, but this place has been welcoming travelers and guests for 195 years. The building itself, really is, it's so special. The architecture, the stone, everything here, people nowadays don't appreciate it as much because Wi-Fi and cell signal doesn't really do well with 2-foot thick stone walls. But once they're inside and really get a feel for the place and, let themselves sort of be welcomed by the house, then they appreciate it a little bit more.
It's some place that when you step into it, you kind of feel like you're stepping into history, almost like visiting Gettysburg or a historic site like that. But I know you've been keeping up with the modern aspects of the business as the industry, food and beverage industry, continues to change. You've made updates and additions. Many people may know you for the restaurant, maybe even the tavern that you operate. But you also have a large ballroom for special events, and you have some upstairs rooms that are used for overnight guests. Can you tell us a little bit about your bed and breakfast portion?
Sure. There are 6 original overnight rooms here in the original house. Then there's 2 more, one being a suite in the original addition that went on in 1844. And then we have 6 modern rooms, have big, fancy jacuzzi tubs in the corner and everything. That was all added in the year 2000. And, we do really well. Probably the 2 biggest drivers for our occupancy, one is weddings, so we have a party take the place for the weekend. And the other is Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water. It's only a 12-minute drive from here. And we welcome guests from Austria, Australia, Germany, Britain, Canada, all across the U.S. that choose to stay with us. We have some great overnight packages to be able to tour Falling Water. Also, Frank Lloyd Wright's Kentuck Knob, which is on the way. Laurel Caverns Cave, where they're going. And we also have packages for whitewater rafting. Fort Necessity National Battlefield. There's a lot to do right here in the Laurel Highlands, right outside the Stonehouse door. So the overnight stays with the inn do really, really well. We have a lot of just couples getaway packages. And we also have a stay and play package with Lady Luck Casino up the street that is becoming more and more popular too. So the inn does really well for us. The business overall, in the 5.5 years I've been here, we've tried to diversify a lot and grow it. We've got you mentioned the ballroom, which does very well for us, but our off-site catering has grown 100-fold in the time I've been here. We've got a great crew there. Christine Shaney runs our sales and marketing and PR effort and really drives that catering sales. We opened the butcher shop, which you'll see later, last September. Full service, all really high quality stuff, from the boar's head deli meats to the dry aged beef and everything in between that we offer there. We bottle just about every sauce and that we use here at the restaurant. I think we have 14 now. Everything from marinara sauce to the house steak sauce that we do.
I just recently bought a bottle of your dry rub that you use on some of your meat products across the street at the butcher shop.
Yeah, well, in the barbecue, I started it sort of on a whim in the summer of 2012, and it's one of the biggest pieces of the business now, at least, Memorial Day through Labor Day. The barbecue that we operate outside has been, it's been great. It's been really, really good.
Well, we had a veterans event this last summer in the 51st District, and you guys were good enough to donate the luncheon that we had for the veterans afterwards. And what impressed me about your catering was you didn't just bring down some chafers of pre-cooked food, but there was a smoker that went along with it. And not only did that bring us some great smells and atmosphere, but there was some cooking going on right on site.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about those smokers you use?
Well, they're all manufactured in Nahunta, Georgia, by a company called Lang. I've used them for years, and I don't know, they're phenomenal. But I've got 4 that we tow those things all over the countryside, it seems like, whether they're a veterans event, a wedding, birthday party, company event, anniversaries, graduations, people love it. And when those things roll in and the smells hit everybody, I think, like you said, it does a lot for the ambiance and the feel, and really takes it up a level from just showing up with chafing dishes. So, but it's been great between all the different pieces of the business that we've grown now. When I walked in the door, I think the place had 28 employees. We have nearly 100 on the schedule this year. So, I don't know, I take a lot of personal pride in that, and we've been able to create so many new jobs in Fayette County.
That's fantastic. I think there's more of the building we want to see, so why don't we head on to our next location and continue our conversation there.
Sounds great.
Hello, I'm Representative Matthew Dowling, inviting you to join me for a family expo focusing on all phases of family life, including children, parents, adults, senior citizens, veterans, and workers. The expo will take place on Saturday, October 28th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Uniontown Mall. Visit with businesses, organizations, and government agencies that provide services to enhance your quality of life. There's no cost to attend, and free door prizes will be awarded throughout the day. If your agency or business would like to showcase your services, register by contacting my office at 724-438-6100 or online at repdowling.com. I look forward to spending the day with you at the Uniontown Mall for my first annual Family Expo.
We're now in the oak dining room as you described it, and it's appropriately named that for the beautiful oak paneling that's throughout the facility. We've talked a little bit about the inn and the fact that it is a historic building. My question was, do you ever have any difficulties operating in a space that's that age?
There are a few. I mean, every old building comes with its own set of challenges and quirks. The wiring's good, it's not faulty, but the building just eats light bulbs for whatever reason. So that's a constant, with all the staff, everybody looks up, all the time, and we're always replacing those. The basement, it's 195 years old and it's made of stacked stone, and so it gets wet sometimes. And, it has grown over the years, and a lot of the caretakers of the place, the owners, everybody has done their piece. So where the building's been joined together, a lot of times, brings a challenge. But more than anything, I think that having had all that added on, it just adds that much more flavor to it. Every owner's been able to kind of leave their mark with it. My partner, who's owned the business since 1996, Fred Ziegler, great businessman, what a great steward of this property. Probably had the biggest impact other than initially building it. And, I really tried, to join him and kind of just keep this place going and growing and keep polishing it. So it's great.
I know you recently had a challenge with a flood in your parking lot. Most of Fayette County experienced some form of flooding, but I saw the photos online that you had. How difficult were those cleanup efforts?
Well, they were easier than the one we had 3 years prior. We learned a little bit from that flood, but I still spent about 3 hours up to here in the water, keeping the storm drain tops open, from debris and everything. So we only got about a foot of water in the basement, and that didn't take out any equipment down there, so that was great. So more than anything, was just the mud and debris cleanup the next day. But yeah, when you can see a 40-foot wide, 3-foot deep river running through your parking lot, it puts things into perspective pretty quick.
Absolutely. Now, we talked about the challenges of an old building. We are an old commonwealth, and sometimes being in a state that is of that age, it comes with some unique problems for business owners, operators of restaurants and other establishments. What are some challenges that you face that you think the Pennsylvania legislature may be able to help tweak or fix to make operating here in the Commonwealth easier?
Well, that's a big question and a great question. You know, for me as a small business here in Fayette County, you know, trying to grow, trying to do things right, trying to, you know, add jobs, take care, you know, provide income where people can provide for their families. The easier it is for me to do business, to operate, you know, within the, you know, lawfully and morally, the better. So every extra step, it costs us money, it costs us time. You know, it may cost us from being able to put an addition on, being able to hire another person, whatever the case might be. You know, I've worked with a lot of different state agencies, Liquor Control Board, Gaming Control Board, to PennDOT, and a lot of others. Everybody's trying to do a good job, I think. I think what would be helpful for the legislature is to take a step back and look at what's been created through all these years, regulation-wise, law-wise, and ask themselves, do we want to be a commonwealth where, you know, it's great to be able to do business, that the businesses flourish, the families that work at those businesses flourish, or do we want to, you know, be Big Brother and add these laborious steps, you know, to everybody's process? So I think if some of the legislature would take a step back and look at that and see it through, you know, the business owners and operators' eyes and the employees' eyes, I think there might be some good changes come from that.
And you've just dealt with a couple of these issues firsthand, one of which being, and people may question why you were working with the Gaming Control Board, but you provide steaks out of your, and meat products out of your butcher's shop for Nemacolin Woodlands Lady Luck Casino.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what that application process to be able to be a vendor for the casino was like.
Long. A little more intensive than I think it probably needed to be for a food supplier. There was, I mean, everything from fingerprinting to, you know, reams of paperwork that, I don't know, someone considered it necessary, I guess. But it basically held us up, you know, held us up on a cash receivable standpoint and everything, because we were already operating, doing business. I was under the wrong impression or got the wrong information to start. I thought that the sales number was on a calendar year. Turns out it was a rolling 12-month year. And, you know, back and forth between the offices in Harrisburg, I did find one person out there, one guy, I can't remember his name, but he was a huge help. If I hadn't had him, we still might not be selling to the casino. But that's a big deal to us, you know. We put probably a $250,000 investment in opening that butcher shop. You know, one, it supports Stonehouse Inn, Braddock's Inn, our other sister restaurant up the street, the barbecue, the catering. And we've got 7 other restaurant wholesale accounts that we sell to. We're selling to Seven Springs, their Highlands Market now, because we've got great product, and the people, those places recognize that. But, you know, dealing with the Gaming Control Board, it was, things I guess weren't clear. They weren't easy. It didn't make me want to go and try and sell to another casino. So I don't know. Again, someone thought it was all the right stuff. For the small guy, business owner out here, trying to do the right thing, trying to make a difference. It was a lot of work that I didn't really think we needed to go through.
There is legislation in the works that I'm happy to tell you will make it easier for non-gaming vendors of casinos, but we're still trying to get that past the finish line. It would help with that application process, and hopefully maybe you could begin to do business with other gaming establishments throughout the region. You also recently dealt with the LCB, because that butcher shop you have across the street has 6-packs to go, and I'm sure that's a popular item for people that are staying in Ohio Powell, maybe doing local camping, or maybe even just staying in your own inn.
Sure.
Tell me what it was like to expand your liquor license from this building to the building that's, a few hundred feet away.
I think I lost count at about 212 emails, so that was a start. Over 20 renditions of, you know, hand sketch what the floor is going to look like, the field inspector for the LCB out here at least 5 times. And we're talking about an 8-foot by 10-foot space. And in addition to the 6-packs, we also offer bottles of wine to go up to 4 at a time. And all those people that you mentioned that enjoy that benefit of having that product there. Also the local residents, if they want to get 2 great steaks or 2 great burgers and a bottle of wine, or even just 2 beers to take home with them, that's a trip they don't have to take down the mountain to Uniontown and another 40 minutes out of their day. It's a one-stop shop, to complete that process. Or, folks up here, even if they want to stop in and get a nice bottle of wine, and they're taking it to a birthday party for a friend, whatever the case is. But it was a lot of work to take. This is actually a hotel license for the Stonehouse, just right across the parking lot, an extension of premise. We're not serving. All we're doing is selling in that space. Is an 8 by 10 area, and man, was it a process.
Well, you kind of have 2 jobs as the chef here, and I think most people in the food and beverage industry would recognize you have the business end of what you do, and then probably what I would assume is your passion, which is cooking and plating food and serving people. Tell me a little bit about your philosophy on cooking. What do you enjoy cooking? What are some items that I would find on your menu? And if I was to come in and say, Chef, what should I order? What would you recommend?
I grew up in the kitchen at my grandparents' house. Between them and my mom, my passion for just really good, straightforward, simple food. I mean, it stems from when I was this big, sitting on the counter with my grandma grinding the walnuts for the cookies. And everything since then, 25 years working across the country. So I've cooked just about any and everything, through my resort career. But here at the Stonehouse, my philosophy really is just comfortable American cuisine. And while on the weekends I play with specials and features, the nuts and bolts of our menu, meatloaf, chicken and dumplings, our famous lasagna, and we've got some great appetizers and whatnot as well. But really straightforward American food is, what I've tried to make the Stonehouse best known for, I guess, because over the years there have been different people through here, and everybody's had different ideas and tried different things, but that seems to work, really well. And like I said earlier, I've added the barbecue aspect to the place, and when your chicken and dumpling sells right there beside the brisket sandwich, people are into the barbecue thing and are really enjoying that. So that's been probably the most fun, just trying different things with that comfortable American cuisine mindset and seeing what does the best and what's best received from the customers. So we make a lot of people happy through food here.
Comfortable American cuisine, kind of those dishes that everyone knows and grew up with, I think is something that people really enjoy. I have to tell you though, you have a macaroni and cheese on your catering menu at least that beats my grandmother's recipe, and I loved her macaroni and cheese. So it's a comfort food. It's something you're used to, you grew up with, and it goes great with any of the barbecue that you have. What about sourcing product? I know if you're creating dishes that are simple, you probably want to start out with some of the best ingredients. And I know that's part of the reason why you have your very own butcher shop here, so that you can control the quality of the meats coming in. But why don't we talk a little bit about sourcing? Do you use any PA preferred or Pennsylvania products?
Yeah, at every opportunity we try and buy local, in-state, in-region, that type of thing. More on the produce end really than anything else. The meats right now, we have a small family farm up here called Footprints Farm that we source a lot of our, I guess best way to say it is specialty, because they're very, what's the best way to say it? They do everything the hard way, the right way, all pasture raised, hormone, antibiotic free, and that product's really special, but it's not for everybody, not for everybody's budget either. So with that mindset, some people like to live that way. So that's why all that product's available in the shop, and it can be purchased through there, or on the weekends we feature it through the restaurant menu as well. So the local stuff, and then let people show up at the back door with bushels of tomatoes, tons of mushrooms, whatever the case might be. I even get people now, like a week ago I was at the Walmart in Connellsville, I ran in to get something on my way back from a catering job. When I come out to the truck, the guy walks up to me and says, "Aren't you that chef from the Stonehouse?" I said, "Yeah. How are you today?" He said, "Great." He said, "Come here." We walked 10 steps over to his truck. I have no idea where this is going. Meanwhile, he opens the back door to his truck, and in the back seat are bags and bags of zucchinis and cucumbers. He's like, "I was going to bring these up and see if you just wanted them. You want to take them with you?" I said, "Sure." So, the sourcing can be different some days, but, we try and do as much local as we can.
Now, I know in addition to the food and beverage you offer within the building, you have your catering services. You also have an interesting weekly, I believe, outdoor night, which is your bike night.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about your bike night and what happens there? What's on the menu on bike night? And I believe at one point you had some other vendors with cigars and things like that. Tell me a little bit about bike night.
It's just a really good time. And, these days, people that ride Harley Davidsons or any sort of motorcycle, you never know if they're going to be a bricklayer, a doctor, a lawyer, a surgeon, an electrician. You never know who's getting off that bike. It's just like when people come through the front door of the Stonehouse. But it's every Thursday night, kicks off at 6 p.m. And it's nothing to have 400 bikes out there. And, we put a band on the hay wagon in the parking lot. We've got the barbecue going. We'll do a special burger and special chicken wings for that night. And it's just all that sort of outdoor, not carnival, but sort of festival atmosphere. A lot of times, as it gets cooler, like this time of year, we'll set a little fire out there in the fire pit, and people can sit around it. But people like to come listen to the band. I mean, you see people pushing baby carriages through, couples, and there's a lot of camaraderie. A lot of people meet new friends. There's a lot of, not cliques, but groups that kind of meet every week, and they might not see each other in between. This year, unfortunately, we've had a lot of rain on Thursdays, which has not been great for bike night, but it's just a really good time, and this is our 5th year now with it.
Well, I thank you for showing us inside this structure. We're going to head on now over to the butcher shop and take a look at some of the products you can pick up to go or that you can pick up and use within your own kitchen.
Yeah, sure.
Let's head on over.
All right.
Hello, I'm Representative Matthew Dowling, inviting you to join me for a family expo focusing on all phases of family life, including children, parents, adults, senior citizens, veterans, and workers. The expo will take place on Saturday, October 28th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Uniontown Mall. Visit with businesses, organizations, and government agencies that provide services to enhance your quality of life. There's no cost to attend, and free door prizes will be awarded throughout the day. If your agency or business would like to showcase your services, register by contacting my office at 724-438-6100 or online at repdowling.com. I look forward to spending the day with you at the Uniontown Mall for my first annual Family Expo.
We're in Stonehouse Butcher's Provisions now, which is just across the parking lot, not very far at all from the Stonehouse Inn itself. And in this facility, you're able to buy anything from meat products to some great local products that I want to highlight before the end of our segment. But why don't we start off by talking about why you started the butcher shop itself?
Yeah. I mentioned earlier, it's how I grew up. When Sunday dinner at my grandparents', came home from church, you change your clothes, you get down to the chicken coop, you get a chicken, you have the hot water boiling, you put dinner on the table. So I kind of carried that philosophy with me my whole way through my culinary career, and I love knowing how the animal starts all the way through to the dinner plate. So that's the way I've cooked, and I've always cut meat, in the hotels that I worked at, and I cut everything here for the Stonehouse when I first started. And people enjoyed, the product so much, I said, we need to open a butcher shop. And because mountain residents, you can't buy stuff this good even, in Uniontown. There are a couple shops probably closer to Pittsburgh you can find it. But this was just a great way for us to continue to do everything from scratch for the restaurants, for the barbecue, for the catering operation, and be able to provide a great service to our locals and be able to grow the business through wholesale accounts. So it's been super well received, and we're really happy we did it.
Now, some of the local items that you could come in here and get in addition to any of your cut meat products are things like your very own steak sauce. And we talked about this earlier in the program, that you're bottling a dozen or more different items.
All of them here, all small 30-gallon batches, all by hand.
Tell us a little bit about your steak sauce, since this is the one we happen to pick
Well,
up.
it's the best one you're ever going to try. But the Stonehouse steak sauce recipe, there's a ton of ingredients in there, but we played with it for over 2 years before we had it exactly where we wanted it. So it's an accompaniment to almost every steak that we sell in a restaurant, which is a lot. And I guess they were asking to take a quart jar, pint jar, quart jar, pint jar. I said, well, we're going to start bottling this stuff. So I worked with the health department, went the whole way through the process for the labeling, the pH testing, all that, and here we are today, and we sell quite a bit of it.
Now, you also have things that are made by other locals. I know Vicky Marietta, who has Backyard Gardens, has bottles on a regular basis, different types of mustards. This happens to be the sweet and hot mustard, but something that you carry on your
The product's
shelves.
phenomenal, you know, and she's right over the hill in Ohio Pal, so it was a win-win for both of us. Great product.
You also have, from the other part of my district over in Somerset, you have some Somerset County maple syrup. I
Best in the
happened to
world.
pick that up. It is fantastic, and you know, you pick up your maple syrup that may be on the Walmart shelf, and
It's not really maple syrup.
It's not really maple syrup. You know, I learned recently to put maple syrup on the label. It's like, I believe, 8% maple syrup that it needs to be.
Yeah.
And this is 100% maple syrup. So that's what you're getting. And in this product, I've done a lot of tours out there, and recently learned that almost to go into a gallon of maple syrup, you're looking at 40 to 50 gallons of the sap that comes out of the tree. So extremely expensive process and hard process to make.
A lot of work.
But great. And then tell me a little bit about this local cheese you have here. I know it's PA preferred. It comes from a local vendor.
Yeah, Emerald Valley Artisans, they have such a neat story with the way they grew up through farming and then into the creamery and then into the cheese making process. And they're so excited about the whole thing. They do such a fantastic job with it. And every bit of that shows in the quality and the taste of the cheeses. So we're really excited and happy to be able to carry them here in the shop.
You also have some other items if you're coming through and you really enjoy
Yeah.
your Stonehouse stay. You can pick up a marketing or marketed piece, a hat you have here.
T-shirts, hoodies.
T-shirts, the whole
they've
9
been really
yards.
popular.
So just a great facility and some exciting products over here in the butcher shop. Now, what are your hours for the butcher shop?
Through the summer, 7 days a week, open at 10 a.m. Getting into winter, we'll probably close Mondays and Tuesdays. But one of the great things about, you know, the technology we have today, we have so many regulars that basically just place their order via Facebook now. And Ben Gardner, who's our manager and runs the shop, he's a Somerset boy, and you know, so he's right there. So even if we're closed, we'll take care of you. We'll have whatever you need.
Well, I thank you for showing us around here today,
My pleasure.
and for showing off the Stonehouse, the hundreds of years of history you have, talking about your philosophy for food, and also that great legislative discussion we had about some of the trials and tribulations that you deal with as a small business owner.
Find ways to make it easier.
We're going to try. We're going to try. So thanks for having us in. I'm Representative Matthew Dowling. I thank you for joining me on this edition of Legislative Report. If you need any information or if you're looking for more information about anything you heard today, please call my office at the information on the slide to follow the show.